Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is Nur Aina Zira binti Sapari from Group 3. So today we will present our poster presentation on teaching and learning issues that requires improvement. As you can see, this is our group member Muhammad Amin, Rafiqin Nakib, Kanan, and me, myself Noaina Zira, will be presenting our issues on this topic, which is the Malaysian education system, exam oriented. Without further ado, we will start our presentation with the first presenter, Muhammad Amin, followed by me, then Rafiqin Nakib, and lastly the last presenter is Kanan.
Hello everyone, we are going to introduction. Today's school examination have become like a race where we place our bet at the horses, our children. We go all out spending valuable time, money and energy to ensure they win the race with flying colors. It has become a practice of our media to over-glorify those who score maximum A's in their examination. They encourage the nation that collecting maximum A's is life all is about. This practice of the media aggravates the ill effect of the already examination-oriented education system of ours.
Next, we will talk about problem statement. Malaysians are some of the most hardworking students. Observe a group of international students and we will see that it's normally Malaysians who study late into the night, organize study groups, and finish assignment way before the due date. But why do we still sometimes fail to impress the lecturer compared to students from other countries, or feel inadequate during tutorial? The fault lies with the education system that we've grown up in. Here are some of the loopholes. Firstly, students memorize everything. Many students memorize essays and sometimes even a whole book. This is done without fully understanding what they've learned. If we're guilty of this, remember that you probably score in the first few semesters, but your success won't last. As you progress further, you'll be given tougher questions that require deeper analysis and maturity of thought. And when that happens, you won't be able to regurgitate everything you have learned. So start now and study intelligently. Next is students only focus on exam. The Malaysian education system is very exam oriented. Students normally just concentrate on scoring in their tests. There's the misconception that the higher number of A's indicate the person's intelligence. For instance, friends and families often compare to see who has the most A's to determine who's done well. While this is obviously not the correct way to gauge a student's ability, students in higher institutions of learning should change their mindset and remember that their capabilities are not narrowed down to exam papers. And lastly, for the problem statement, students lack leadership skill. It may sound cliche, but not many students have the qualities of a leader. Many are followers because they're timid and prefer not to have all that many responsibilities. This attitude will inadvertently affect one character as you just end up shying away from major tasks, resulting in a going with the flow attitude, and this ultimately will cost you your career in the future. So, don't start too late and require necessary leadership skills in university. The future of this proposal is students be ready to be a critical thinker. Critical thinking is that the process of actively analyzing, assessing, synthesizing, evaluating, and reflecting on information gathered from observation, experience, or communication. The ultimate goal of critically thinking is to unravel problems or make decisions. This is often achieved by mentally processing information during a clear, logical, reason, and reflective manner to know things better. Particularly, the proposal has the subsequent sub-objective, which is firstly to determine how critical thinking affected students. Secondly, is to improve some of Malaysian education system, and lastly is to encourage majority of students to excel in things they have likened an aptitude. The result of this proposal will be valuable to students and benefit them as well in the future.
Significance of the issue. Exam help a lot to bring an improvement in the individual knowledge because they provide regular feedback to the student who acknowledge their shortcomings and work on them. Exam promote competition among students. They work harder to improve their knowledge and skills. Studying is like exercising. When one exercises, the muscle in use grows stronger. Likewise, the process of searching through one's memory and retrieving the relevant information strengthens that memory pathway for future uses. This means that when newly qualified teachers, doctor, lawyer, or accountants come to retrieve information they need, it is as a consequence of having been practiced previously. Now it's easier to access. So how can we best make use of this practice effect for memory? Research tells us that learning is particularly strong when students self-test. Rather than passively reading and remembering by notes, we want our students to study by forming appropriate questions, searching memory for relevant response, and knitting this information together into an appropriate answer. We think this third benefit of exam is the most existing. Exams don't just provide a target, fit for purpose, opportunity for students to demonstrate what they know. They also have the power to enhance what students know.
Qualitative research involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data, example, text, video, or audio, to understand concepts, opinions, or experience. It can be used to gather in-depth insights into a problem or generate new ideas for research. As for the proposal, we are using grounded theory which are collecting data on a topic of interest and develop theories inductively. As for example, research data on Malaysian education system based on media visual. Desk research such as library resources, internet resources, documents, reports, website and paper are also have been applied into this proposal. In order to gain a better insight into possibilities for improvement of the issue range, semi-structured interviews were conducted with 8 postgraduate students from one of university in Malaysia. The students were defined as someone who has been seated for exam in Malaysian universities and international universities. The survey was used to identify differentiate of exam structured between universities. Interviews were conducted in a small cafe next to counter and least approximately 20 minutes each. Answers were recorded by note taking only due to interview preferred not to be filmed.
Lastly, the conclusions. A student may have to invest a great deal of his or her time if a student desires to excel in research. They lose their childhood within the procedure, missing the chance to mix around with their peers. This case can hamper the ability of learning skills, a skill that important during their life. Once their aim is set to obtain higher grades in tests, other activities may have to be sacrificed. Teachers are bound to reduce extracurricular activities like sports as well as discourage inventive activities so that students can study longer. This ought not occur since the students have worked hard within the class and studying, so they should be allowed to take part in such activities as an outlet to release stress. How can they how can they reduce tension if they're to pore over a book day and night? Examination-oriented education system might possess a noble aim. However, the implementation ought to be done carefully, so it will not affect the student. Everybody ought to realize that each individual is unique. Some may excel academically, while other people can really enhance on expertise. Thank you.